renewable energy ecosystem comes in to act as security to energy supply, reliability and affordability. And what Uganda has done is to make sure that we have the regulations in place that allows exploitation of energy from whatever energy source. We have basically renewable energy on our national grid, 90% of which comes from hydropower, but we also have solar energy on the system. We are exploiting geothermal. We are also exploiting nuclear energy. Our potential for nuclear energy is 24,000 megawatts, and we have started working on that. As to whether it will meet the needs of mining, that is something we have to discuss more. Mining needs high voltage power, and that means we have to put in place the transmission lines and substations to pull power to the mining places. And these mining places are in areas which are far from the national grid. They are hard to reach, and so that means we need to invest more money into infrastructure that will see our mining industry have power. But that doesn't mean that we don't have mining activities in Uganda. We actually do have them, and we have decided to ban exportation of unprocessed minerals in Uganda. That means we must provide power in areas where refineries are established. We have about 10 refineries in Uganda for gold. We are also smelting tin. In some areas, we have reliable power, while in other areas, we are still improvising with mini grids and off grids. But the principle is that we must improvise. We must exploit all the natural resources, including petroleum resources, by the way, because it comes with associated gas that can be turned into power to power the sector. You can get money from this resource to invest in the renewable energy. So Uganda's energy mix is comprised of renewables. Whatever source, wind is also being exploited in Karamoja parts of this country. Solar is exploited, geothermal is exploited. So our mix will take care of the security of electricity supply. This was an opportunity for us as government policymakers to interface with the private sector. And I want to encourage all governments to find time to mix and mingle with private sector. We have an arrangement in Uganda where the president every 6 months interfaces with private sector to understand one another. First, I want to assume that there is always political will for private sector to get involved. And when you open up for private sector to participate, you'll be able to know the gaps that government has to bridge. We must have capacity in human resource to be able to reduce on the bureaucracy because sometimes people take time to understand the documents, the bid documents, they are always thick. And if you don't have capacity, you've not built capacity, you end up spending a lot of time. Then secondly, the objective of a win-win. Private sector sometimes may need to beneficiate maximum benefits from such products, yet government is targeting supply of services to their people. So we have to meet at one point. And that process, once you don't understand one another, you end up spending a lot of time, which you would have avoided. So I think we need to apportion time and be able to understand which regulations to amend, which regulations to put in place that can facilitate fast tracking of negotiations of such projects. You need to open up. you need to provide for policies where private sector comes into power transmission, into power generation directly as private sector. AEF makes us mix and mingle with counterparts. We can sit together and plan together and learn from one another. It brings interested people from private sector whom we mix and mingle with. We get opportunities to talk about what our countries can avail private sector. And I think it's a good thing to come together, discuss the challenges together, and also propose the remedies for these challenges together. And I hope that going forward, we will be able to have a harmonized policy regime that can really regulate the entire continent. For example, when it comes to minerals, it is good to hear from countries like Uganda, which are already implementing a ban on exportation of unprocessed minerals. It encourages others also to move forward and take such steps. And having a similar voice is one way. Such gatherings enhance regional cooperation as well, where as a region you can think about interconnectedness between the regions. How do you share the meager resource that you have? How do you reduce on wastage of power, for example, if you have not worked out the national distribution network? How can you use your neighbor to make sure that instead of wasting that power which you've generated and you are not using it, that the neighbors are using it and you're getting money that you can reinvest into the system. So it's a good forum, I think, and I want to encourage us, all of us as African, governments, to always find time, and see 3-4 days. It's not a small period. It's not a short period. It's a period where transactions can be done, where policy decisions can be taken, and great harmonization can be done.